Hello, this is Objective 3 of the 2021 Sans Holiday Hack Challenge, and I'm hoping that this will go a bit faster than the previous one. The previous one was rather long, but just like the other videos, I'm going to first do the terminal challenge and then the actual challenge for the objective. So let's get into it. We're going to pick it up where we left off, so we're back in the courtyard, and let's take a look at the challenges. So the third objective here is to open up the entrance for Frost Tower, and in order to do that we're gonna have to use the Wi-Fi dongle that we have. But first we're going to get the hints for the challenge from Greasy Gorforguts. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing this correctly. Outside the tower for tips. So let's travel, and we're going to teleport there. We need to get to the North Pole. That's where the entrance is for both locations. And we have here Jack Frost with his evilish smile. So he's more like naughty. Jack Frost is not that evil, he's just a bit naughty. You can see here the chatter going on. So he's running a conference next to Santa's conference and try to lure people in. However, getting through the entrance is tricky because it's all frozen up. So in order to get in, we're going to have to use our Wi-Fi adapter, and you need to be nearby. I'm not sure the actual proximity, how close you need to be in order to get to the location where you can use the Wi-Fi adapter and see the network that you need to attack. But before doing that, so the objective said, just as a reminder, that we first need to get to Greasy and check out the terminal next to him. So let's talk to him. I need help with parsing some Nmap output. So this challenge is about grepping in Nmap results. So read the instructions, maybe search for a cheat sheet in the hints. So he's giving us a couple of hints explaining how the terminal works. So there's a quiz me command, and you need to submit your solutions. I think overall there are 5 questions, and that's it. So looking at the hints, he gave us a hint on a cheat sheet for grep. You can open this one up in a separate tab, and this is pretty useful. Some of the options we're going to use while we're solving this terminal challenge. Let me just get to my notes and start up the terminal. I haven't done a refresh on the browser. We're going to see if it crashes again, just like with the previous video, then I might do that. But it seems to be stable, so let's get into it. This is Howdy, mind helping me with this home challenge. Okay, so we're dealing with trolls on the other side of the North Pole, and they are pretty naughty. Sometimes they will make us do the chores instead of them. So it says someone ran Nmap on a big network, producing the greppable output, and now we have this big file, and the Quiz Me program has the questions and hints, and incidentally has nothing to do with an ELF University assignment. Thanks. Answer all the questions. So altogether, apparently we have six challenges then, and we need to solve one, and then using the Quiz Me program, we're going to be able to submit it. Let's try out the Quiz Me quickly. Quiz Me. And it says the question that you currently have to answer, and you can ask for hints. I'm just going to do this as a demonstration, so you can hit the letter H for a hint, and you can keep on doing this until you run out of hints. Actually, we just got 2 hints for this particular challenge, so we don't have the answer yet, but this way you can, if you're stuck on one of the questions, get some hints for this. I do have the notes here though, so let's get into it and try to figure out the answer. And basically the second hint is the same exact command that I had. Wonder if I can copy and paste this one. Not sure if I do a Control-C here or anything like that. That will work. So I'm going to paste it in from my notes. If you take a look at this, this one only has one single port open. Okay, this is probably going to be challenging to do any copies from here. It works the other way around, so you can take notes. Let's do the quiz me command again and get the answer here pasted for the port number. So the first question was just what is the open port for this IP address. Then the second question is still on open ports. So pretty much the same thing as the I wonder if this one worked. Let's do a copy, paste. So it's just a different IP address instead of the first one. And this one has port 8080 open. So let's do again the quiz me. I'm just clean up here the terminal. So quiz me, next question, port 8080. I'm not even going to copy this one because it's fairly easy. And once you solve the challenge, it will also give you some ideas on the solution that they use. You're not necessarily going to solve it the same way, but it's always good to have a different perspective. So let's see how many hosts appear up in the scan. So this is a bit more complicated, but still fairly easy to solve. Previously, we've been just graphing for IP addresses and then look at the port list. So nothing special about it. You don't really need to use anything other than just graphing for that single IP address. Here, if you take a look at the previous outputs, let me just go back to the previous one, for example. You see that for a given IP address, you have a line that says status up and then the port list. So we can count these lines here, and this is actually what I'm doing with this command, which I need to copy again here and paste it. So I'm just going to check for status up. And it's always a good idea to stop before you do your piping, the usual Unix way of using the Unix tool set that you have at a terminal. It's always good to just stop and see the results if they make sense before you pipe it to the next tool. So I'm going to do just a quick head here, and this looks good. So for each of the IP addresses, I should have this one. Let me just do an up arrow here, and then I need to just do a word count on the results that are returned. And I have this number here. I'll try to Control-C this one. Let's do quiz me again. And then paste this one in. And again, that's correct. So they used a shorter expression here, just the uppercase up word works as well. So like I said, different ways to solve the challenge. Now, for the next one, just display the question here. How many ports have a web port open? Let's just use TCP port 80, 443, and 8080. So these are the ports that you need to graph for. It's going to be a little bit more complex, especially because we're graphing for multiple values. The expression that I came up with was this one. The -E is enabling the full regular expression engine. So the extended regular expressions. By default, grep just going to support a simplified regular expression syntax, but with egrep or using grep with -E, you will have the full potential for regular expressions, and you can graph for something like this, which by separating the different expressions with a pipe symbol, I'll tell the regular expression that either of these occurs, give me back the result. And if you do a head here, you will see an example where you have port 443, then the next one has port 80, and there's also port 8080 here. So this seems to work, and the next thing that we need to do is just count again the number of lines here. And get this result. Let's do the quiz me. Again, paste this one in. And there we go, we have another correct solution. Yeah, okay, so this is a shorter regular expression. I'm not super great with regular expressions, but you see that they will give you the same exact thing. This is a bit more effective because it's shorter. But aside from that, we have the same exact result here. Alrighty, I sort of lost count how many answers we already got. So this question is, how many hosts with status up have no detected, at least open TCP ports? And this one is a little bit tricky. I think I sort of went ahead and checked out the, let me just look at my notes. I sort of checked out the hints as well. We can do that, so we can ask for all the hints here. So this gives one way to do it in a fancy way. I think I used an uglier method for this one, and started off by looking at let's control C this. Started by looking at the lines with status up, and then looked at the line afterwards. So the dash A1 just tells that we want to look at the line that follows after the expression that we matched. So this way, what I'm going to have is all the lines that have hosts being up and have then a set of ports listed out here. Now, if I have then another expression which will then go in and disregard all the lines with the status one. So first I'm going to display these lines, so in pairs of twos with the status up, and then the list of ports, and then I will disregard the status up part because I first would like to count the number of occurrences where I have ports open, and I will have to take note of this number, and then I'm going to use another grep command to count all the status up lines. And I hope this makes sense, but just to recap this, the first, or well, more like second grep that I used here will tell me all the hosts with open ports, and then I will have a second grep command that will give me all the hosts that are up. This will be a larger number, and if I do a simple subtraction from this number, then subtract this number here, then I will be able to just get the results. Now, initially I was like, let's not try to leave the command line, and I did this for the binary calculator, but this terminal doesn't have BC there. So another method that you can use is open up a calculator, and you need to then do the math here. So minus this number here, and we should have 402 hosts that are up but do not have a port open. Quiz me, paste this number in, and this is the answer. Now here the solution is vastly different. It's a much more elegant way of doing it. but whatever works, again. So you don't necessarily need to have a perfect solution there. If it works, then that's all that there is. And we have only one challenge left, which is what is the greatest number of TCP ports any host can open. Now again, here I just went with the hints. This is a more complex one, and they give you here two very important ones here, telling you that we could, for example, count the number of lines that contain Jolly 5 times with, again, and we use a regular expression here. So you need to have the expression, and then you see here the counter for the repeat times. There's a single elegant one-liner to solve this, but I again went the quick and dirty, ugly route. I used the command that was mentioned, taking into account that in this graphable file for open ports we have the expression open there, and I sort of do a binary kind of search here. So I start off with 5 open ports here, and I see a fairly big number. So after that, I said, okay, let's see if we have hosts with 10 open ports. And again, I'm just using what was in the hints. I'm not even thinking about it too much. So okay, we have a lot more hosts there. What about like 20 open ports? Nope, 0. So again, I can take a step back and say 15, maybe. Still 0. So I'm gonna go down to 12, which has 5. Just to be sure, maybe there's 13 open ports. But no, that one gives me 0. So the highest number here is 12. Let's copy this one here. And I'm going to do the quiz me again. It's going to say 12. And there's a much better solution to this, but we managed to solve the challenge even this way. So sometimes this is all that you need. Although eventually, yeah, they came up with this these numbers, and I wonder how they found it. That was my way of thinking and solving this challenge. So it's up to you how you approach it. But now we can exit this terminal, go back to our troll, Greasy. He really did it. He just cannot believe that we're so good. And he gives us a couple of hints now for using Ivy List and Ivy Config, and how to use curl if you want to do a post request, send in data. So these are pretty useful ones for our objective, but we need to check. We have the graphing for gold objective here, and let's take a look at the hints provided as well. So Linux Wi-Fi commands, Ivy list. I wonder if this is just a man page or something like that. It is the man page. It's actually the man page of these commands. All right, curl, and it's also just the man page for curl, which these are valid and totally fair pointers to the challenge. So if you're not familiar with these commands and you haven't done Wi-Fi assessments that much, then you definitely should read these ones through. And then there's an article here from Educative. Let's get this one out of the way, telling you how to make a post request using curl. All right, so these are all very, very useful hints. And at this point, we need to get to our items, and I hope that I'm close enough to the entrance. I'm going to say open Wi-Fi card. And this will start up the terminal explaining what you have. Again, you have a reference to the mem pages here, and your task here is to fiddle with the thermostat on the other side of the door. So we have our Santa's Workshop, the wireless division, and we've been busy adding the new Cranberry Pi features. We're proud to present experimental version of the Cranberry Pi now with Wi-Fi support. This beta version of the Cranberry Pi has Wi-Fi hardware and software support using Linux Wireless Tools package, so we're going to use these two commands here. You can search for Wi-Fi networks and connect to them, read the man pages. I'm afraid there are wireless, aren't a lot of Wi-Fi networks in the North Pole yet, but if you keep scanning, maybe you will find something interesting. Now, I haven't checked, and I just realized that maybe I should have done it if there are other Wi-Fi networks, but our task, our scope, is to assess the wireless network nearby here. So we're going to start with a nice ivconfig command, and this will tell us the Wi-Fi adapter name, VLAN 0. We want to have a bit more specific details on a given Wi-Fi adapter, but we only have one interface here. So we're going to use then the ivlist command using the VLAN 0 adapter to scan nearby networks. And indeed, we see one network, which is the Frostinitis setup one, and this looks like a 5 gig one. So the next thing that we need to do is to connect to this, which is again with the ivconfig command, the name of the interface, ESSID, and then we need to provide the SSID here. Wonder if I can paste here. Let me try to do it from my notes. Paste. Yes. All right, so we need to connect to this network now. The network connection detected. Visit this URL for complete setup, and you can use the curl utility. Just do that. I'm going to clear up here the terminal and paste in the curl command. And now we're just querying the page of this Wi-Fi thermostat. Nidus thermostat setup says that it's not correctly configured. Access to this device is restricted until you register your thermostat/register. Once you've completed registration, the device will be fully activated. In the meantime, due to North Pole have safety regulations, frostbite protection, you may adjust the temperature. And checking back on the, I forgot to check the objectives, but the objective here is to unfreeze the door. So we would like to raise the temperature of this thermostat. And this one gives us a location to check the API document. Let's just do that. Check the API doc. And we have here the list of possible API calls, but apparently the only thing that we can do, because the thermostat is not registered, is the /API cooler part. We're going to make a request and see what is returned if we make a call for that API. And it gives us back the temperature, which is minus 39 degrees. I guess it's in Celsius. It's pretty cold. And the next thing that we need to do here is try to set the temperature. I'm looking at my notes and I can't really find any references here on how we actually came up with the idea to do a post request. But you see here everything is returned in JSON, so we probably need to send in a JSON data as the request, and it's going to be a post here. So I'm going to just paste the whole thing in and explain what I have. So we're going to make a post request instead of a GET request, and because we're going to provide JSON data, we also need to set the content type. I think this is explained in the hints. And then the data that we're actually sending in is just going to be the temperature that we would like to set. I think this is was my first attempt just to check out what's going to happen if I make this, but I think we need to raise this significantly. But let's see first if it actually works. So we're making the request to the same API, but now we're sending in data, and returns the temperature. Now we managed to raise it. This looks promising, so let's try to adjust it to a more reasonable one, like 20 Celsius degrees is closer to what most of the human beings and probably elves would consider reasonable. This is the whole goal of the achievement. As you can see, now it's unlocked. I'm gonna close the terminal here, talk to the little troll here, and okay, he's just saying the same thing here. But as you can see now, the entrance is open, so we can enter into Frost Tower, and we have a new narrative unlocked. And Jack Frost is also teleporting, I guess. So checking out the story. So begins Jack's mission: gather trolls to win a war, build a con that's fresh and shiny. Has this yet been done before? And we have a new achievement here. We have the Frost Tower's entrance achievement unlocked. So that was all for the third objective. As you can see, this is unlocked now, and we managed to defrost the entrance door. So this was all for this objective. I pretty much enjoyed this one the most out of the more like entry-level ones. I think it teaches you a lot of important concepts, and hey, there's Wi-Fi stuff in it. Who doesn't think that that's fun? So we're going to continue on and do the slot machine investigation next.